So I hid it under the chairs in the library. My head of year comes and she's like, Israel, can I speak to you? I'm like, yeah, sure. What's this about? Takes me to her room, searches my bag. She doesn't find anything. She's like, where's the weed? She shouts at me. It's going to get long for you, this, that. I'm like, okay, cool. So I panic. I tell her where the weed is. She gets the weed. But also in my bag was the plastic bags that you used to put in weed. So not only they catch you with the possession of weed, but possession with intent to supply. They were asking, do you sell to anyone in the school, this, that? And I just like...
Israel in first person.
Yeah.
How you feeling today, man?
Feeling blessed. Great. I went Friday Fires yesterday, so...
Is that a church event?
Yeah, church event for Light London. Yeah, Friday Fires, I went there.
How was that?
It was nice. It fits into what I've really been focusing on. Like, trying to meditate. Yeah, because meditation is like... It's like not a grey area, but it's like... Everyone says it, but they don't explain how to do it. You know, so... I had to do some research myself, whatsoever. And yeah, yesterday kind of fit into it, but yeah.
Do you use Headspace or something?
No, like meditating on the Bible. Yeah. Meditating on the Bible, yeah, it's powerful.
Before we get into it, I know who you are. We've actually only met once before, twice before.
Yeah, twice.
And each time we've only spoken for about 3, 4, 5 minutes at max. So
yeah.
I just about know who you are. Yeah. Everyone watching probably doesn't know who you are. So in as short as you want, or as long as you want, who are you? Who's Israel? Who am I talking to?
Israel? Oh, Israel. First of all, is a servant of God. Yeah, man. Yeah, that's something that I've come into recently. Yeah, servant of God, 19. Yeah, by the time this comes out, I mean, if this comes out before April, then I'm not a finance apprentice. But if this comes out after April, then I'm a finance apprentice.
I'd hope it comes before April. December.
Oh, yeah.
Finance apprentice, yeah?
Yeah. It's crazy how I ended up in that. But yeah, well, I'll tell my story. Yeah, God is, servant of God. I'm just here. Right now in life, I'm just exploring, like, really trying to go deep into this Christianity thing, new spaces, new faces. And yeah, man.
So if this chapter of your life was to have a name or title, what would it be?
New creation. Yeah.
That sounds poetic, bro. That sounds heavy.
Yeah, honestly.
You have to expand that one, man.
New creation. I'll preface it by saying I used to think I was broken, but then I took a step back and I'm like, yeah, there's cracks, but those cracks isn't me breaking, it's me hatching. You know, it's me going into a new form. And yeah, where do you want me to start? Where should I start? Yeah.
Brokenness.
Oof.
Brokenness.
Cool. Brokenness. Where did I first start to break? It all starts last year. So September, this is start of year 13.
Okay.
Of course, year 13, you just want to get your bread up. You know what I mean? Just want to get your money up. Honestly, I must have went for a trial shift at Nando's. They said, oh yeah, you were great, you got the job. I didn't hear back from them. I was like, oh, weird. Then my friend was always like, oh bro, you got to hop on this trapping thing with me, do it. I'm like, nah, drugs, that's not me. But I would always like to smoke weed though, me and my friends. And then one day I was just like, sure, why not? Started doing that. It was fun. I can't lie, like, I'm not even gonna say it wasn't fun. It was thrilling. Doing something that you're not meant to do. That was thrilling, like just being, yeah, it was honestly great. On the 30th of October, so a day before my 18th birthday, I went to see this guy called Andrew Womack. He's like an American preacher. My mum dragged me there, but actually, let me talk about how I was. All right, cool. So I was raised in the faith.
Yeah.
But once I didn't have to go to school. Well, not school, to church. Yeah, Sunday school. I digress. Like, once my mum wasn't saying, oh, yeah, you have to go to church.
Yeah.
Oh, Sundays off were great. Oh, my God, Sundays off were great.
What age was that for you?
Ooh, I think just before lockdown. Then lockdown even intensified.
16?
15,
15,
14, yeah, 15. Oh, lockdown was a while ago, yeah. But yeah, then after that, through lockdown just intensified and I just went further and further away. Then in year 12, I started to do the philosophy and ethics for A-levels. And that was, a gift and a curse. A gift because I found out what I liked in philosophy, like asking questions, going deep into things. But a curse in that it just pulled me further and further, like away from God. Like, because philosophy, it's split into three parts. There's philosophy, ethics, and DCT. So philosophy is asking, does this world have an author, a creator? How was this world made?
So like the big questions.
Yeah, the big questions. Then ethics is like, is there such thing as good and evil? This, that. Then DCT is more on Christianity. So who was Jesus?
What does DCT stand for?
Development of Christian thought.
Okay.
So yeah, it's more on Jesus. So through that, I just became further and further away from God. I was like an atheist at one, agnostic, very agnostic, to the point where I tried Islam. I was like, I went into their prayer. Yeah, I done one of the, like a prayer, like you had to do the whole wudu when you wash your face.
Yeah.
All of that. And I was like, this feels good. Or is it just because I just washed my face and air is hitting my face? So like that's how skeptical I was. I was like, I was just skeptical of it.
You didn't know what to believe.
I didn't know what to believe, yeah. So, cool, day before my 30th birthday, go to this guy. It was such a great service, but I'm still not in the faith. I was just like, let me just give him an offering. I only had £10 in my account. So, theoretically, I gave him everything in my account, but it was only £10. But I gave it. I was like, yeah, I feel good. Now it's my birthday now, the next day. And I had to drop weed from where I am to someone in Tottenham. And I was like, I can't do it after school because like people are gonna be around my house and all that. So let me just take it with me to school. Then after school, I'll drop it off. Took it with me. As soon as I went in school, my friend was like, bro, you smell of weed. But he would always say that, like I would go into school high and all that, wouldn't really care. But then people started looking at me and I was like, oh, this is weird. Then I went to the library. People could smell it more. I'm like, oh, this is bad. Let me hide this in the library. So I hid it under the chairs in the library. My head of year comes and she's like, Israel, can I speak to you? I'm like, yeah, sure. What's this about? Takes me to her room, searches my bag. She doesn't find anything. She's like, where's the weed? She shouts at me. It's going to get long for you, this, that. I'm like, okay, cool. So I panic. I tell her where the weed is. She gets the weed. But also in my bag was the plastic bags that you used to put in weed. So not only they catch you with the possession of weed, but possession with intent to supply. They were asking, do you sell to anyone in the school, this, that? And I just like, just thinking back to that day, I was finished. Like, honestly, I was like, this is downhill. Like, then they were like, oh no, it's all right. Like, you're still 17. I'm like, no, it's my 18th birthday today. So, like,
adult.
Yeah, I'm an adult. I'm legally an adult. Yeah. I was just like, wow, like, start year 13, this, that, gonna get excluded. I ended up getting excluded. I'm not sure what my head teacher must have said or what strings God must have pulled, but I bust case, honestly. I got off basically scot-free. And I honestly think it's because I gave that offering the day before. Genuinely. That's why when it comes to offering, I don't play about. I'm like, I can give what I can give, even if it hurts. Like, 'cause I honestly think that saved everything. So, boom, I get excluded now. I'm crying. I am
balling.
Oh my goodness, man. I am crying. Like, I'm like, what am I gonna do? Calling colleges, they're saying, it's too late for you to enroll or this or that. I'm just like, life is finished. Like, you just feel like a bum when you're at home, your friends are at school. It's like the whole world is moving on, like, so without you. Just crying. And I had no outlet, so what do? I go back to smoking weed, just constantly. I fill that hole with girls. Honestly, I would, it was so bad, man. I would tell them. It's a strategy that I would do. This was the game. I would just like, be like, yeah, like I like you too, this, that, yeah, I want a relationship too. Once we do what we do, I was like, you know what, like, yeah, like, I just feel like this is a bit much for me. And I felt no remorse. Like, that's how broken I was deep inside, that I was like, hurt people. So that's basically what that was.
Was that intentional? Was that conscious, or did it just?
Oh, I was very conscious. Like, yeah,
You knew exactly what you did.
I knew
You had
exactly
intent
what I
to
was
do.
doing. Yeah. Literally, I had an intent to do that. Like, I knew what I was doing. I was just filling it with weed and this and that, and it's weird because I've never really felt like I was in a suicidal mood. Like, although my life was crashing down, like, I never once felt I want to kill myself. Like, it was just, I'm not sure.
Yeah.
I've just never felt like depressed or anything. But my friends would always check up on me like, "Oh, are you alright?" I'm like, "Yeah, I'm good." They're like, "But are you sure you're good?" Like, because with the circumstances, no one should be good. But I was just like, "Yeah, man, that's life. That's literally my saying. That's just life, man. Stuff happens." And around me, I had friends who, like, during that year, who tried to kill themselves. So it was like, I saw it from both angles, if that makes sense. I was also a person who, I saw a person who was suicidal from that point of view, and I saw it from a person who should be suicidal but isn't suicidal. So it was just a weird parallel to see it from. And then, cool, we go into the new year now. I decided at this point to teach myself A-levels now. My brother done it. Funny enough, my brother also, he didn't get excluded for weed, but he got excluded for something in like sixth form. Taught himself A-levels, ended up getting 3 A's. So I was like, oh, he's my brother, it's in my blood. Surely I can do the same thing as him. That's my logic. That's my logic. Oh, what a flawed logic. But, yeah, what a flawed logic. So it's the new year now, and just smoking weed every day. Girls, it's just a rotation, this, that. And I've actually never even told anyone this, but one day my friend just comes up to me, he's like, "Yo, like, you've ever seen a prostitute?" I'm like, "A prostitute? Like, what are you talking about?" He's like, yeah, like, bro, like, can't we just... I'm just like, nah, man, that's a bit weird. Like, I don't even need, like, a prostitute. Like, I get girls, I get girls. Like, yeah, I know you get girls, but it's just... Yeah, so that happened. Oh my goodness. Like, even, that was a steep rabbit hole. Like, you don't realize it when you're in the moment, but sex is energy exchange. You know, it's so much more than just two bodies. Like, it was deep. Now, let's fast forward to just like 7-8 months ago. So summer now, I'm outside all the time, like smoking, doing smart whip, all this, all that. Then there must have been a time at a hall party where someone was threatening to stab me. And the threat was very real, but I was at a stage in life where I was like, I don't really care if I die. Like, not that I was suicidal, but it's like,
If I die, I die.
If I die, I die. Maybe that's just my story. Like, maybe I'm meant to just be mourned for 2 weeks. Go on, that's life. But I made it out of that situation. First of all, thanks to God. Thanks to the friends that were around me as well. Like, oh my gosh, it was crazy. But all throughout that past year, I just felt God. I don't even know if I'll say that I felt him calling my name, but I just felt something. Like, I couldn't have made it this far for no reason. So I saw Ignite on TikTok.
So was that after the potential stabbing?
Yeah. Literally like 3 weeks after. I saw Ignite. I'm like, because I've always wanted to, like, I've always seen church, I'm like, that's cool. Like, when I see young people in church, I'm like, that's cool. Like, I wonder if I can find a church like that in it. I saw Ignite and I was like, let me just go there 1 week. I went there. It was all right. It was nice. I said, I'll come in next week. Next week, there was a girl in my room. Yeah, it was just, like that. Next week, there was a girl in my room. But I went the week after.
Yeah.
I went the week after, and they must have done an event called New Flame.
Okay.
And it was like, oh, you gotta ignite a new flame in you, new passion for Christ. I'm like, yeah, I hear it, yeah. So I went there and we were just deep in prayer and I just started crying and I was like, whoa. And I haven't cried since I got permed from school. Almost a year. I haven't cried in like a year. So here I am, I'm just crying. I'm like, wow, this is God. So on my way home from Ignite, and I just hear my heart skipping. Like, I'm just so happy. So now that I'm at this awareness of God, I'm like, I can't go back to my old ways. Mm-hmm. And I'm not sure how this has happened, but it's honestly through faith and the grace of God. But since that day, I haven't smoked, I haven't drank, I haven't done anything, fornicated or anything. Like, I was like, this is serious. I can't do half in, half out like this. I gotta go full throttle. Like, even when it comes to posting quotes on social media, like, I know that's a sticky one for some people who are trying to transition.
Yeah.
I was doing it all. I was just like, yeah, man, like, this is Jesus, this is God. So I started consecrating. I love Kanye West. Well, used to love Kanye West. He was like, even when he said all that stuff about the Jews, I was like, guys, he doesn't mean it like that. I was defending him on Twitter, on anything. I was so loyal. Then I was like, I can't listen to him anymore. I got to listen to gospel music, worship music now. And since then, my life has just changed drastically. Like, the people God has put in my life. I always used to say, like, when I was first changing into Christ, I was like, how am I going to stop talking to these friends that aren't good for me? Mm. Then God swapped those friends out for the friends that I have in church now and multiplied it. Like, these are like my family now. Honestly, like, these are my brothers. Then I just started going to all these church events, like, even if they were far, like, because I'm from East, like, even if they were in like Charlton or Woolwich, I would go to them. The night vigils, I'll go to them. And through there, I just kept building in faith. And yeah, like, honestly, there's no word to describe God. Like, it's ineffable. Like, what he does is crazy. And the experiences that I've had. So the other day, on Tuesday, I went to Ignite and our pastor there, Pastor J, by the way. If you want to go to Ignite, tap in on socials, come to Ignite. Shameless plug. But yeah, so he must have been preaching about, I forgot what it was, but it was basically about how you care about the opinions of humans more than the opinions of God. And for the past 2 months, I've been praying to God, God, use me, like, if I'm the ship, tell me where to go, then I'll do the rowing, I'll do the legwork. And God's been speaking to me, but I've been kind of ignoring him, like, sometimes when God speaks to you, like, that's a mad idea, like, what are people gonna think if I do this? But I've been ignoring him and I've been telling him to give me signs. Oh, he's giving me so many signs. So on Tuesday now, he does an altar call. It's like, for people who need God, who still have the fear of man in them, come. Then I just see bare people go up and I'm like, wow. Then all of a sudden I'm sad. And I'm not a sad person. I'm very happy. And then all of a sudden I'm just sad for the whole way back home. Then I decided to just walk from the train station to home. Normally I take a bus and then I decided to walk. I'm like, God, what is this? Like, I start speaking in tongues, like, randomly. When I say I'm shouting in tongues on the main road, like, you think I'm a madman. Like, I was just like, I'm rebuking this, all that stuff. Then I see these 2 guys walk past me and I'm like, yo, man, them, you good? He's like, yeah. I'm like, God loves you. I just spoke to them for 2 or 3 minutes, and they probably thought I was some weird guy because it was cold, like, it was freezing. And I looked like I'd been, like, so depressed. But I was like, God loves you, like. And he's like, yeah, man, God loves you too. I'm like, yeah, but, like, this world, like, it's corrupt. Like, it has ways of doing stuff to you. And they're like, yeah. So we have that talk. Then as soon as I'm done with that, the sadness just lifts off me. And I'm like, whoa. I'm just deep in it. Then it wasn't until I was in my kitchen that I realized that wasn't my sadness. That was a fraction of the sadness of God that he feels when we don't do his will. Then I just went on my knees. I was like, oh, God, I'm so sorry. Like, it took that for me to really hear him. It took him trying to share his emotions for me to really hear him. Like, it's weird. Like, it was just a weird weird aha moment, you know. I was like, wow. Like, all the signs you've been giving to me, the people that you put in my life, and I still couldn't see it right in front of me. You had to physically make me feel sad. Like, this was an unshakable sadness. Like, I couldn't even fake it. You know when you're sad, but sometimes you'd be like, no, I'm good. This one here, I was deep in it. I was like, what is this? Is this the enemy? Is this that? But yeah, that was just a crazy experience, really. Like, just, that's why following the will of God is so key, but it's easier said than done. For everyone, it's different, but what I want to say is that through your vulnerability, that can lead to someone's breakthrough. You know, you don't know, because if I didn't speak to those two guys on Tuesday, maybe in 4 or 5 years' time, God tells me to speak to someone else who's about to commit murder. But because I haven't built the confidence up through speaking to other people, I don't speak to that guy. Then he commits murder. Then on the day of judgment, God's like, when I told you to speak to this person, you didn't speak to him. Then he went and committed murder. That's on your hands. That is literally blood on your hands. And yeah, man, because those people, I don't know if they commit murder or what. Hopefully they didn't go commit murder. But everything about God that you say to people, you're planting a seed in them. And you shouldn't take that for granted, even if it's just you just singing. If people see you happy, they're going to inquire, why are you happy? You'll be like, oh, I've got the grace of God in me. Then they'll go like, oh, yeah, sure. But that's still a seed that you're planting in them. Like, even when I was really, really like smoking weed a lot, my mum would be like, oh yeah, you can smoke, but every time you smoke, just say thank you, Jesus. And I'm like, what do you mean? Like, that's crazy.
That sounds crazy.
That sounds crazy. But then a month later, I don't smoke anymore. Like a month from that. So that was in August. So in September, I didn't smoke anymore. And it's just like, wow, that was planting a seed in me. That was manifesting something in me. Like people don't honestly know like how powerful words are. Like even when, like 2 months ago, I started to say my declarations in the morning. I was like, I will see substantial progress by the end of this year. And I was just talking about my beard. I was like, I just really want my beard to grow. That's what I was talking about. Next thing you know, things in my life start happening. I'm like, whoa, what's all this?
I was just talking about my beard.
Yeah, I was literally just talking about my beard, but because I really believed in it as well, and the words that I'm putting out there, it not only, it changes your mindset, it changes how you tackle things. Like when you realize that God has put you on this earth for a reason, you know, it's like, God has put me here, you know, like the I am sent me, you know, there's nothing you can do to me, you know what I mean? Like you're formidable, you just build this insane amount of confidence. And it's like, now that you have the joy of God, you feel like it's a disservice to not at least try and help other people to feel the same love of God, you know. And to anyone who may be going through something right now, or like you don't really believe in this God thing, just give it 60 days, 2 months. Like it took me less than 2 months. It took me maybe 20 days to really, like, honestly know the love of God. Because like, and also the people like around you as well, they will speed up your journey in Christ. Like people around me, like London and Ignite, all of them. I would say their names, but there's got to be some that I miss out. But special shout out to Manuel, Tyrone, Alexa, Kevin, Pastor Isaac, Pastor Jade. Okay, yeah, I don't know where I started. But anyway, yeah, like the people you meet, the people you connect with, like, because it takes a village to raise a strong man or woman of God. Honestly, it takes a village, like, because there's not going to be days where you want to pray, but if you have people who have the same hunger for God as you, they encourage you to do that. But yeah, I didn't think I would go this route when telling my story, but yeah, it just basically just went straight to God. I feel like that's just how much I love him, you know. Like I just always have to say that he's changed my life, really, because this time last year I thought my life was finished. Like I'm saying it, but because they're just words, people may not fully understand it. Like I was caught with 3 ounces of weed on my 18th birthday. like, got permanently excluded, not in education, didn't have a job. I was just a bum, literally. Like, it was terrible, man. It was bad. But honestly, the grace of God, and I really feel like all that was intentional, because if I've been through all of that, there's nothing that I can go through now and I'll be like, I can't make it out. Because that was even lower than rock bottom, because, oh man, especially that really fractured like the relationship with me and my dad as well. That fraction, it was crazy. I think what did he say on the phone? He was like, I think he said, you're a failure. And I was just like, oh, when you hear that, there's no going back. But obviously I know it's just the heat of the moment, all that stuff. And through my journey of through forgiveness, it's not only taught me a lesson, I guess it's also taught him a lesson on forgiveness. That's why forgiveness is so important, because you may think that forgiveness is for you, but it's also for the other person. Like, you learn things through forgiveness. You learn to build, like, your character builds, and also, like, just through forgiveness, and also, like, serving in the church as well. Serving in the church is so important. You should always aim to serve in the church, because that builds your spiritual character. Just how doing stuff in the world builds your character. Doing stuff in the church builds your spiritual character. That's how I like to look at it. So the more you serve in the world, the more you serve in the church, more than you serve in the world, you're building your spiritual character and letting your worldly character die. And I feel like that's how you excel. But yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's just...
That was a long... Who is Israel?
Yeah, it was long, but it was like I couldn't short, like that was the shortest version I could get it to.
I imagine so.
Yeah, that was the shortest.
So who you are now today is a culmination that's been brewing since October 2022, in a sense. Yeah,
through that season of, I like to call it my Job season, but knowing what Job went through in the Bible, I went through nothing, but that right there was just, it was...
So calling this chapter of your life New Creations, what do you think God is creating you to be now?
Everyone says an evangelist, and I'm like, oh. But after my experience on Tuesday, when I talked to those guys, then the saddest thing I'm like, yeah. It might have to be that. Yeah, and I like talking anyway, so it's not really a problem. But yeah, I feel like he's just calling me to just preach to people like me, like who were in my position, who were just hopeless, or not even hopeless, but just in the ocean by themselves, like there was no shore anywhere, but yeah, man, I can't wait to evangelize, man. I just can't wait.
And were you tied with philosophy? So do you still love philosophy, right?
Yeah.
But even though you're doing a finance apprenticeship,
yeah,
do you still do philosophy as much?
I have a lot of books. So my brother he went Bristol, and that's the course he done in philosophy. So in my living room, there's just bare books. Like, honestly, there's just bare books. And I either watch podcasts on philosophy, or I read the books. And it's just always gaining knowledge. Like, because I don't know who he says, is it Socrates? I think it's Socrates. He who knows all knows nothing. So if you think you know everything, you don't know it. Like, you know what I'm saying? There's still more learning to be done. Like
the more you learn, the more you realize you don't know.
Yeah, honestly, the more you... yeah, man. Like, and what I'm really trying to do now is try to just be a Bible scholar, Like Apostle Toby, the Apostle at Light London, by the way, V Cinema, V5, V Cinema Room 5, by the way, on Sundays. He must have said that, do you know angels learn from you? Like, angels learn about God through watching you. So there's angels, so there's certain angels that has been assigned to you which are now backsliding because of what you do. And I was just like, where did you get that from? Then I done some research and it's true. Like, there's angels who are watching us, who learn through Christ through us. And it's like, there's so many things that are, I feel like the Bible's just so deep. Like, I just really need to just be clued up on it, because the way I'm clued up on my philosophy, like, yeah, it's great, but ain't nobody really want to hear that. Like philosophy is great in it, but it's for certain people, you know. It's for certain people. But like the Bible, and being well versed in the Bible, because there's some times where I'm sure you would go to like a show, then they all quote a verse, but you don't know the verse. It's like, one of it was that when I first went to like London, I think someone was preaching and they were like, what did God say? What did God say to Jeremiah? And I was like, what did he say? Then everyone was like, before I formed you, I knew you. I was like, oh, like, you know what I mean? I'm trying to be like that.
Yeah.
I'm trying to, because like, I think when I went, all I knew was John 3:16, that was it, you know? But I'm trying to be like proper like that. And even when they sing worship songs, there's still songs that I don't know, but I wanna know everything, you know? So that's really what I'm focusing on now.
I see two options. At least the way I see it, right?
Yeah.
As you draw closer to God,
Yeah.
I think there's two options for everything else. Everything else, as you increase with God, everything else decreases. So you seek the Bible more, you seek philosophy less, for example. Or it could be a thing of your love for philosophy elevates your study for the Bible.
Yeah.
So I guess my question is, what path do you think you're going down? Is it that everything else decreases, or everything else elevates you and helps you with the Bible and with Christ more?
I think it helps me with the Bible and with Christ more, like, especially when I talk to people about Jesus. There's a lot of things that people don't know about Jesus, but I know through my philosophy. You know, like, where do I even start? Where do I even start? Oh my gosh. Wow. Just like the actual history of Jesus, how he rode in on a donkey and how political that was. People don't even know that, but him riding in on a donkey was so political. Like, even there's stuff in the Bible where the prodigal son, when he ran to hug his son, people in those days, they don't run because they would wear a long tunic, which would cover their legs. So in order to run, he would have to lift it up and show his legs. And for a man to show his legs back then, that was a shameless act. But people don't know that because they just read it like face value. They don't know the context. I feel like context really helps you understand the Bible more. So through him running, that's him letting go of all pride and everything, like just forgiving.
For the sake of forgiveness.
Yeah, for the sake of forgiveness. And it's like, but people don't know that unless you really went deep in that. I'm like, maybe that's what I'm sent here to do, like to proper, like, give them context on the Bible.
So like join the two worlds.
Yeah, join the two worlds. Yeah, can't wait, man.
So then, how does finance fit into it then, or is that just sort of an intermediate means?
Oh, I'm not sure yet. You know, I am really not sure yet. We shall see.
So you haven't got much of a plan or sort of like a strategy. You're just sort of, I just think you're just pure vibes.
Yeah, I really feel like God is still like molding me, like, because even like I recently found out that I love poetry. Like, I wrote a poem one day, I performed it, people liked it. I was like, oh, this is great. Now, how can I use this to glorify God? You know, that was my first, that's like where I went to next. I was like, oh, how can I use this to glorify God? Like, there's new things, there's new hobbies and things that God is
revealing to you.
Yeah, revealing to me through taking out the old hobbies that I had through weed and all that stuff. So I'm like, all right, God, now that I've conquered this, what do you want me to do now? You know what I'm saying? It's on to the next. But yeah, I guess it's just intermediate means for now. But yeah, I guess I'm not really too fussed because I realized early on that it's not about chasing happiness. You know, like, people want money because they think it'll make them happy, but happiness is a fleeting feeling. It comes and goes, you know. So if you want to be happy, that's basically like you're chasing a ghost. You're never going to get it. Like even when you pray to God for these materialistic things, it's like, once you get it, you're like, all right, God, now I want this. You know what I'm saying? Like, or in a few years, it's not going to feel the same. Like, do you ever want something so much that when you get it, you don't have the same feeling anymore? Like, oh, is this?
It's more enjoyable to want it than to have it.
Oh, yeah, 100%. Yeah, man. So now I'm just focused on just reaching a level of God that's just so different, you know, because people, when I hear people saying, oh, like I saw an angel, I get so jealous. Well, not jealous, envious. I'm like, how do you see an angel?
I want to see an angel.
I want to see an angel too, man. I want to see that, like, and it's like, oh, like, because Apostle told me, he's always like, an angel was at my bedside, and I'm like, I want to see that too, man. You know what I'm saying? But it's also through endurance as well, like spiritual endurance. Because before, like when I first came to Christ, I loved to worship more than praying. Then now it's like a nice balance, like between the two, and that just came through in endurance. Honestly, like you're not gonna get that all at once, you know. But as long as you're intentional, because God knows your heart, you'll get there eventually. And yeah, I'm just trying to build. Like I feel like because. Like I'm still young, but because I took all that time off from the faith, I'm playing catch up now, man. But in a good way, you know. Like I'm playing catch up, but it's not like I don't want to catch up. It's like, oh yeah, doing this, like doing all the objectives, all that, like, yeah. So I just can't wait, man. Like we're gonna look back at this podcast in 10 years, me and Clapton, and we're gonna be like, damn. Look where God took us, like, honestly, oh my gosh, man, I can't wait, man.
How often do you look back? Do you think you spend a lot of your time sort of looking back, looking currently, or looking forward?
Ooh.
Because hearing your story, it's like there's so much to look back on and where you've come from.
Yeah.
There's so much to look at now currently for where you are with God, and there's so much, because of where you are with God now, there's so much to look forward to in the future for where you're going with your apprenticeship, with philosophy, with how you serve. So where do you think you spend most of your time focusing or looking towards? Or
I only look back at when I'm praying, like when I start praying, and like, because I always start off by just thanking God, and I just look back and I'm like, I just laugh, like I'm like, that was really me. That was really me. Like, when I see people smoking, I'm like, that was really me. When I see my other friends I don't talk to as much talking about girls, I'm like, that was really me. Yeah. It's crazy. And sometimes I laugh, and sometimes I'm just like, wow, God, just thank you. But even when I'm saying thank you, I'm like, this is not even enough. Me just saying thank you. Like, there's no word in the human dictionary that could thank God, like, but yeah, like enough. And then presently, I feel like me reflecting presently is still me reflecting in the past, because presently I can only compare it to the past. So I'm just like, oh God, thank you so much. Then in the future, I laugh about the future. Like there's days where I'm just in my bed and I'm like, all right, God, they don't know what you're about to do for me. I just laugh. Like, I'm looking up at the ceiling, it's dark, and I'm like, God, they don't know what you're about to do. And I just laugh, and I'm like, oh, wow. Like, it's just stuff like that. Like, I just laugh, man. It's funny. Like, even when I'm tired and I'm doing something, I just laugh. It's like, oh, they don't even know, man. They don't even know. Yeah, and even, like, there's even sometimes where I'm worshiping and I'm jumping, I'm doing everything. Like, there's certain worship songs that get me like that. Kadosh, 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 Kadosh. He is the Lamb of God who sits upon the... Oh, that song? It gets me pumped. It gets me pumped, and I just jump, and I'm like, oh God, just thank you so much. Like, it's honestly, it just gets, oh yeah. But yeah, so in terms of the future, I just laugh. I'm like, oh, we're just about to boom, you know.
You don't know what, you don't know how, but you know it's gonna, you know.
Oh yeah, it's coming. Like, I can just, yeah, man. Like, when you know that you have God on your side, that's like the biggest cheat code ever. You know, it's like if you wanted to direct a film, then you had the best director ever. It's like, well, if you wanted to make a film and you had the best actors ever, like the best cast, you're like, I don't even care what the film's about. This is gonna sell box office. Like, this is gonna go, like, this is gonna be sold out in every cinema. So that's how I look at it. I'm like, whatever you want, man. Like, as I said, just guide the ship. I'll do the rowing. Just, you know, that's literally all I pray for. And through meditation as well, through just speaking it and declaring it over me. Like, 2024 is my year for more. 2024 is my year for more. Just through saying that, it's doing something internally. Because anything that's physical was once psychological, you know, so it's building something internally. It's just, yeah, wow, just can't wait.
I'm interested to know what your relationship with God looks like, in the sense of God is many things and he's everything all at once.
Yeah.
But he presents himself to individuals in a way that is to their needs, in a sense.
Yeah.
So he might be a father to me, a friend to someone else, a healer to someone else, a redeemer to someone else. He's all of them at the same time, but for that specific person.
Yeah.
Who is he to you? Yeah.
Jehovah Jireh, man. Honestly, Jehovah Jireh. He will always provide a way. Like, there's sometimes I wake up and I'm like, God, you know, it's just me and you right now. Like, can you just give me like a couple inches? Like, I want to be a bit taller. But then there's sometimes that I wake up and I'm like, God, I just want to thank you. I just want to, it's just like, who is God? That's a good question. But like, if I had to just say one thing, Jehovah Jireh, he's a provider. Like, just thinking back to where I am, my family, all the things that I went through young, it's like, wow. I can't believe that I used to disrespect your name like that, you know? But you still found it, but you still gave me your mercy, you know, after I'd done all that. It's, yeah, man, it's just crazy. But like the stage that I'm at now, I'll say he's my provider. But it's also just my guy, you know, like, talk to him every day. Like,
I get that.
Because it ain't always got to be
so deep. And
yeah, it ain't always got to be so deep. Sometimes it's just like, oh God, like, it's a bit cold, you know what I mean? It's a bit cold, like, warm me up. Then you start singing a praise song. Then all of a sudden you just feel less cold. You know what I'm saying? It's just those ones, you know, just gotta speak to God. But because I feel like being raised up in the faith is like, you always have to feel like you have to be like, oh, thou in heaven, can you? Oh, nah, man. Just start off with how you know how to communicate. You know what I'm trying to say? Like, communicate how you know how to communicate. Because if you're trying to communicate to God in a way you don't know how to communicate, then you're not communicating with him. You're just saying different words.
Just regurgitating.
Yeah, honestly. That's not you, that's someone else communicating with him. So, communicate the way you know how to. Yeah, man, just, honestly.
I do hear that, because I grew up in Pentecostal church, right, Kojic. And you got mothers and elders and deacons, and they're using all these eloquent words. El Shaddai, Elohim, Jehovah Jireh, Jehovah Nissi, and they spend the first 5 minutes just acknowledging him. And
the kings of kings, Alpha and Omega, yeah.
And it became
yeah.
And it became a thing where that's why I prayed. I didn't really know what exactly I was saying.
Yeah.
I didn't know exactly where it was coming from, what it meant. It was just how I prayed.
Yeah.
And as I got older, it felt more inauthentic. I hated praying more because it felt so inauthentic.
Yeah.
And it felt fake.
Yeah. It's like, you close your eyes, be like, it's just, it felt, especially speaking in tongues as well, like, it felt so fake. But it's also through context as well that those names, they meant something to me. So Jehovah Jireh comes from Abraham, That's the first time it's used in the Bible, when Abraham called him so Jehovah Jireh because of how he had to sacrifice his son and all that. So when you learn the context, it gives the name more meaning. You know, that's why it's like I'm so invested in going deeper in the Bible, because then it will give it more meaning. You know what I'm saying? So Jehovah Jireh, I never knew what that was until three weeks ago.
Yeah.
Until I read a book called Experiencing God. And through that, it birthed a whole new love of God in me. You know what I'm trying to say? So to anyone, I implore you, just context. Like this book has been around for hundreds of years. You gotta understand the Bible. Like, this is the best-selling book of all time. All the number one bestsellers that you see, that's fake.
Close.
That's because they had to take the Bible off that list. That's how that's how good it was. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah.
This book has withstand so many things, and you're like, oh, it's just weird, you know, like, because we're logical people, and when you think, why would you not look at a book that's withstand time, that's withstand all this propaganda, World War I, World War II, the Romans, all this, you know what I'm trying to say? So it's just weird. Like, even when I think back to me before, I'm like, I was just so ignorant. Like, why didn't I give this a try? But then again, it's also how you're raised as well, because you wanted to pray less because of all that stuff. So it's like, it all plays a part, but it's a new generation now. You know, I'm just trying to push that way of seeing God differently, which I believe we'll be able to do, you know. But yeah.
I've got two questions. I'll ask one first. Both of us are church boys, grew up church from birth. It's a bit of a sticky question, because I don't know how to answer it myself.
Yeah.
Do you think that growing up in church done more harm or more good?
I think more good. Yeah. It may have done harm in the beginning, in building a negative friendship with God. Because when I think about God, I'm like, oh, Sunday, I have to sit there for hours. I have to read out like from a hymn book first and do the prayer. Oh, that was long. But I say that it's done more good because now that I'm trying to get back into it, it's kind of more easier. You know, it's like I'm slipping in back to shoes that I've worn before. It's not like I'm learning it's not like I'm learning this whole new thing again, learning how to pray and all this stuff. Like, that would be hard, especially at this age, you know. So it's like you were raised playing tennis, then you didn't play it for 10 years, but you go back to playing tennis and you're better than your friend that just came to play tennis for the whole time. But you're like, oh, yeah, I used to do this. Yeah, praying in tongues, I used to do this. Yeah, it all comes back to you. So I feel like it's done more good in hindsight, but at the time, I feel like that's all part of the journey. You know what I mean? Like, it's different for everyone. The journey is different for everyone. Like, as much as our parents had the best interest in mind, what worked for them couldn't work for us, you know? Yeah. Especially when you factor in their environment that they grew up in, then our environment is. It's a whole different wave.
How do you, how was the relationship like with your parents?
My mum, great. My dad, I like to say that there's two types of present. There's normal present dad, then there's African present dad. So African present is just like, yeah, I'm here, you know, like, I'm here, but like, I'm not really here. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's weird, but then I started to reflect on it, and Pastor Chris at Light London, he said this quote, like, I don't know how to be a father, but I know how to be a father to my child. So raising every child is different, you know. There's no manual on how to raise a child, and you have to realize they're learning on the job. And all the experience that they had, they've learned it from their previous father, who was raised in a whole different time, whole different tradition. So you can't blame them for not doing more than what you think they should have done. And it's also because, like, you have to realize our parents' lives are as complicated, if not more, than us. So, not in a bad way, but we're probably the last thing they think about. They're trying to see, how is this rent going to be paid? How are we going to get food on the table? How am I going to do this for my job? So after doing all that, they come back home and it's like, yeah, they want to give you attention, but
they got so many other
things to do, and they're tired, and it's like their main focus is just making sure that you have a roof over your head and you have food on the table. So it's like, it's hard for them to delegate that, but I feel like it's through me going back and reflecting that I start to understand that it's not really your fault. You know, you done the best you could do, you know, and you wasn't raised in a time where you knew how to talk or communicate, you know. And the first time like I really saw this was I think one time I saw my dad like not cry but cry, you know what I mean? I was like, oh,
I didn't know you could.
Yeah, like I didn't know you could. Like that's different, you know. And I feel like through people not being vulnerable with their children, they build up this perception of that, oh, you're Superman, you can do this and that. Then that leads on in your children when they grow up. It's cycles, you know what I'm trying to say. So it's like, oh, that's weird. And then through that, people grow up not knowing how to express their emotions, and but through my reflection, that's how you break cycles, you know. So yeah, my relationship with my parents is, my mum is great, my dad is, I love him. I should probably say that more, like I love him, you know, that's my dad, but it's a work in progress, but.
Is there anything that you think you need to do from your side to help your relationship with your dad?
Probably act like I've forgiven him. Like I say it a lot, that I've forgiven you. Yeah, I like to think I have, but I don't act like it, you know. Like I don't call him as often as I should. You know, I don't talk to him as often as I should. It's, you know what I'm trying to say? Like, no, but then you have to think of it from the point of view that the only thing a father wants more in this world, like the only thing that they want in this world is to have a relationship with their child. Like nothing else matters to them. They can be broke, dead broke, homeless, but if they have a relationship, well, not dead broke, homeless, but if they have a relationship with their child, that's all they want. And it's hard to see it from a point of view when you're the child, because you're like, why am I doing this? Like, they're the parent.
They should be doing
this, yeah, but once again, there's no manual on all this and that. Like, they're just focused on trying to get a roof over your head and all that stuff. So it's interesting.
Do you think that's something that you'll probably start to, or try to do more often after this?
Yeah, 100%. Like, I don't know when my dad could die. God could take him at any time. Like, yeah, you feel like once you get used to waking up every day of your life, you start to take it for granted. You know, you actually don't realize that this is actually the best blessing of all. Like, there was like last week when Clapton was talking at this Raw and Christ thing, he was like, what are you thankful to God for? There's like, everyone just breathe. So indirectly or directly, everything after that is God. So it's like yeah, so when you realize it, it's like everything happens through God, like even just you breathing. So you can't take it for granted, because once you start to take it for granted, that's when you become careless. And through carelessness, the enemy can sneak in different ways. So, and one thing, Clapton's just a man of wisdom. Wow, he's a man of wisdom. One thing he also said is that the thing that matters is your first impression and your last impression. And you don't know when your last impression is. So your last impression is also your current impression that you're giving off. You know what I'm saying? So you should always give the best of you know what I'm saying? So I don't want So if I call my dad today, that could be the last impression that he has of me. But I can't. I have to give my best impression, because your first impression and your last impression, that's all that matters. And you don't know when your last impression is. So, yeah, man, I have to.
What do you want your last impression to be? Without being too morbid, obviously, God forbid you die now, but what do you want your last impression to be on the world, on the people around you?
On the people around me. You're just never too lost. You know, God can always pull you back. Like, I believe, like, my testimony that I'm going through now, one day I'm gonna share it, and that's gonna inspire a new wave of believers. You know what I mean? Like, when you, like me and you going through life now, one of the things that pushes me is, like, every day that I wake up, that's God saying, I'm not done with you yet. And also, when he is done with me, the story will be told. Like, when he's done with Clapton, the story will be told. When he's done with you, the story will be told. Like, nah, man, that's what I'm saying. When I think about the future, I just laugh. Like, the story is gonna be told, and it's gonna be great, man. Honestly, my last impression, I just want it to be, just believe. Honestly, just believe. And it's weird because faith is believing in something without logical basis, you know. And with humans, we just want logical basis, but just believe, man. Honestly, just believe, and everything else is unlocked. It's a simple process, but it's hard to instill into people who live off evidence, you know, and objectivity, but just believe.
So what would you, because that person is, I'm a data analyst, right?
Yeah.
So my job is looking at evidence, is looking at numbers, is looking at what's in front of me. And if it's not in front of me, it's either not doing something wrong.
Yeah.
Right? So what do you say to people who are of that inclination to purely go off what they see and having evidence and having logical rationale for? So how do you sort of reconcile that with faith and believing? And what's your advice, I guess?
Or people who are trying to get into that but can't.
Okay, so how do you sort of reconcile logic how do you reconcile logic but faith at the same time?
I say it's literally rooted in our existence. So science, the Big Bang, that's logic. But they can't account for the one miracle, which is the Big Bang. You know what I mean? So when you look at it from that aspect, it's like, how can you not believe that there's a divine author? You know, like, science, the capital of
Objectivity.
Yeah, objectivity, can't account for this one miracle. And it's like, you have to understand that it's almost as if, like, wake up. You know, that's basically what I want to say to people. Like, just wake up. Like, how can't you see this? You know what I mean? Like, how can't you see that you being born here specifically to this specific human, like, even just fertilization and the egg cell and the millions of different eggs that swim to be fed. How
can you think that's just chance?
How can you think it's just chance? And Bertrand Russell, a philosopher, he likes to say that the world is just brute force, it's just brute fact, it's just there. And I'm like, there's a philosopher called Gottfried Leibniz. He says the principle of sufficient reason. So if there's something big that happened, there has to be a sufficient cause. Like, if there's this world...
That is as big.
Yeah, that is as big. So it's like, why are you... Like, ignorance is bliss, I understand that, but you have to wake up. It's better to be... who says this? I'm not sure who says it. I think it's Jeremy Bentham, but he's like, it's better to be a dissatisfied human than a satisfied pig. So it's better to be someone who doesn't know everything than to be a pig who's just in the mud all the time. Like, yeah, that's what really woke me up. It's better to be a dissatisfied human than a satisfied pig. So, yeah, man.
Wow.
Yeah.
So before we close up, right, what is the letter that you'd write to yourself that you have write to yourself a year ago, 5 years ago, or what is it that, or what? Yeah, okay. What letter was it that you'd write to yourself a couple of years ago? Yeah, last year, 5 years ago, whatever. What would you say to yourself? And an extension of that, what would you say to everyone else?
To myself, I would say, cherish your hardships. Cherish your hardships, because these hardships that you go through now will prepare you for the difficulties that you go through in the future, you know? And even the worst things that you're going through, there's going to be a time in the future where you're like, I really thought that was the worst thing ever, but I actually got through that, you know? So yeah, like every day you wake up, that's just God saying he's not done with you. And through that, just keep going. And to everyone else, oh man. I don't even know.
It's a lot.
It's a lot, yeah. Everyone else, what would I say?
Or maybe a specific demographic of people, a certain group of people.
Yeah.
Is there a specific type of person your heart is more drawn towards?
Specific type of person.
Is it men? Is it black men? Is it young boys? Is it old women? Is it the hopeless? Is it the broken? Is it those who are insecure? Is it like, what people do you have, I guess, the most heart for?
Those who are insecure. It's weird because I was never like an insecure person, but those who are insecure and through that, they don't use the gifts that God has given them. Because I honestly think like through everyone using their gifts, so much breakthrough can happen. Like, oh my gosh, so much breakthrough can happen, but because we care about the opinions of others, it's just holding us back. Like, imagine how far like Christianity could be if everyone just, yeah, it's easier said than done as well, but it's like, you're gonna die in 8 years, you know? And the number one thing that people talk about on their deathbed is the regrets that they have for not doing stuff because of the opinions of others. And if you don't do something because the opinions of others, that's you saying that they have more control over your life than you do. And when you think of it like that, it's like, but they don't. But they do, since that's the only thing holding you back from doing anything, you know? So you're going to be dead in 8 years anyway, you know, so you might as well do it, you know. Literally, you might as well do it, because regret is going to, regret, man. Regret is, yeah, it's a bad one. And one more thing, just one more thing, about perspective. Once you change the way you look at things in life, the things you look at in life change, you know. Because it's easy to look at it from a single point of view, but sometimes you have to just take a step back. Like, it's like, I like to look at life like people look at the Bible with different translations. You know, New King James Version may say all that, but the NLT, the Passion Translation, it may say the same thing but through a different lens, and that is really what could change
the shift.
Yeah, honestly, that could be the shift. Honestly, man.
What's your chosen? Last question. What's your chosen
translation?
Yeah.
NLT. Yeah. NLT for now. Yeah, NLT. But yeah, it's simplistic. You know, it gets the job done. Let's just say that. Yeah. Yep. So what's yours?
Recently, I've been at ESV, you know.
ESV.
English Standard Version.
Okay.
Similar. It's like similar to Amplified Version, but just not as in your face. It's a bit. I find it a bit more in depth, but yeah. So yeah, I like it, man. I like
context. It. Yeah. 100%.
Well, Israel, it's been
wow.
It's been a beautiful time, bro.
Honestly, yeah, we're gonna look back at this interview one day. Trust me.
I'm thankful for you being here. I appreciate you being here.
Likewise. Honestly, like when you first told me, I want an interview, I was like,
You're interesting. You have a lot more to share than, maybe you know that now, but when I first met you, I was like, this guy's got some stuff to say. He's got some things to share. And I think the whole point of what I want to do is to give people that platform, is to give people that space to be vulnerable, to share their story. Because I don't think it's just the celebrities and the artists that have a story to share. I think it's everyone, from the meekest to the greatest.
Yeah.
And I think it would be unfair and a disservice to the world for those people in between not to have that space to share what they have to say.
Yeah.
So I'm honoured by you sharing your story. You've been vulnerable.
Thank you.
You've been open.
Yeah.
And again, you've taught me. You've probably taught yourself, and you've taught a lot of people. And I think I have to encourage you to continue doing what you're doing.
Likewise, man. Likewise. Like, lots of people don't know how many people they inspire, because this world has a weird way of not giving people their flowers. You know, but I want to give you your flowers.
Thank you, bro.
You inspire me. Honestly, you inspire me, man. And Clapton as well. Oh, Clapton inspires everyone. Oh, that's me, just. He inspires everyone. But yeah, man. Yeah, like, yeah, just keep doing your thing.
Appreciate it, bro. I love you, bro.
It's more than love. It's more than love.
More than love.
It's more than love, man.
And that's a wrap.
It's a wrap.
That's a wrap.